Once I too was named in heaven. That must have been when my father's eyes met those of my mother. I don't know exactly when it happened or where, but suddenly, one day, I started existing in heaven. From there I saw everything. I saw my father, I saw my mother. I started loving the world they lived in. I came down, moved around them, waiting for the magical moment when I would start to exist inside my mother's womb. Yes, that was years ago. My father, as you can see, was still very young. His name was Oniket. He didn't know whether God existed or not, so he didn't know whether to live for or live against. Sometimes he found himself waking up in strange places. Sometimes it seemed to him that the moment one just lived was so familiar, as if it had happened before. Sometimes, when alone, he would suddenly remember something from his childhood. And sometimes, while talking to Arjun, it would seem to him that life was meaningless. Arjun was Oniket's friend. When sad, Arjun became philosophical. Oniket and Arjun lived in the same apartment. The landlord was an old man. The old man had a garden where a small boy often came to steal flowers. The boy stole flowers for Partho. Partho gave these flowers to Mahashweta, but she was not sure what to do with him. While thinking about him, she either played with the Velcro fastener or ran her fingers against the comb, and she knew that Partho really loved her. My father too was in love. He loved, as you might have guessed, my mother. She too was very young, as you can see. So many lovers in the world. 6 billion of them, I guess. But it is not poverty that is responsible for overpopulation. It is love. When you think about the past, or when you're trying to reconstruct it inside your mind, you tend to forget the details and the frames look kind of empty. And then you try to add details and they look so stupid. But anyway, the past has something about it. We can't live without it. We are what happened to us in the past, and that's why I'm talking about it. That is, my past. I mean, I don't know if you can call it my past. But just trying to understand what I am through what happened in the past. But then, you talk about your past and you realize that you don't actually know what was important and what wasn't. You skip those which played a vital role in the story and talk about something not because they were important, but just because you have somehow remembered it. Anyway, as my father went out every day in the morning, after having walked exactly 256 steps, he would walk past the window, but somebody would always close the window as he passed it. Then he would come across Partho, the lover, who kept waiting in front of his loved one's house. I think his never having a matchbox was some kind of a superstition. Then after another 72 steps, he would pass the little boy. The boy, at this young age, had discovered the essence of life. It is boring. Then usually by another 300 steps, he would go past the postbox. But on that particular day, he had a very important letter to post. Then, in the tea stall, he would wait. It is difficult to say how long he had to wait. It could have taken as long as it takes to fix a broken button, or it could have taken as long as it takes to do the morning crosswords. But it was precisely when a dead butterfly was being dragged by hundreds of innocent hungry ants, and precisely when the investigators at a nearby crime scene found what they were looking for, and precisely when a clay cup was being revolved around a rather nervous, irregular axis by my father, the electric piano started playing in the background. The days seemed perfect, so perfect, as if they were invented. And I was trying to understand. Dear God, now I see your grand design. Now I slowly understand you, Lord. Now I slowly understand. Everything that took place seemed to have happened just so I could exist. The butterflies had to die. They had to be beatified. After all, they were responsible for all the miracles in the world in forms of flowers. They all had to be granted sainthood with the sweet fragrance of naphthalene. Everything was perfect. Now I was sure.
এটা দেখ কি এটা বিষাক্ত প্রজাপতি আমাজনের জঙ্গলে এগুলো সব অভিজাত পর্তুগিজরা নেটিভ হান্টারদের কাছ থেকে কিনতো। কেন বলতো?
কেন? বিপন্ন পর্তুগিজ মাগিরা দুর্বল মুহূর্তদের ডানায় চমকে আত্মহত্যা করবে বলে?
না না, নির্দিষ্ট পরিমাণে নিলে এর একটা নার্কোটিক গুণ আছে, নেশা। পেলি এটা?
ভাবছি চলে যাব।
কোথায়
জানি না, তবে এখানে আর থাকা যাবে না, যেখানে দিন বেরিয়ে পড়বো। সবটাই আনসার্টেন। আসলে আমাদের পক্ষে একদম হারিয়ে যাওয়া কোনোদিন সম্ভব নয়। হারিয়ে যেতে গেলেও একটা ঠিকানা লাগে, and an address is more than just a latitude and longitude.
আসলে আমি এরকম করে ভাবি না।
ভাবিস না, ভাবা ভাবি সবার কাজ নয়।
That was the 15th letter he wrote to her. Or maybe the 21st. Actually, it doesn't matter, because they were all fundamentally the same. But I have a feeling that she somehow liked these letters from her anonymous admirer. I guess women like repetition. But in one significant way, this letter was different. Here, for the first time, my father expressed his desire to meet her. He finally wanted to reveal his identity. So finally they were to meet. The moment of truth approached. I started getting excited. Then finally, maybe one day, I would start to exist. But everything depended upon whether she was interested. Something told me she was. A falling star crosses the sky, and on earth a mortal makes a wish. When my father came back, found a note on his table. It was Arjun's farewell note. He had left. And life went on as usual. The milkman woke up early to feed the motherless orphans of the town. The superstitious lover tried to change his luck. And then came the crucial phase in the story. And I hid myself in a water tank, praying all day. And then finally, the day came when my father was supposed to meet my mother. When I came out, I saw my father sitting in the tea stall. He too had been praying. For the last few days, everything he did was actually prayer in disguise. Like the prayer of a mad beggar. And when Lord answers to the prayer of a mad beggar, it's time to fear. What happened that day was unpardonable. Everything seemed right, but Aniket withdrew himself at the last moment. Something very powerful seemed to have stopped him. I don't know what it was. My mother waited on the bridge like a dandelion waits for the wind to blow. I guess she wasn't used to waiting. But her trembling eyes told me they had been dreaming. I never thought it would have ended like this, but it did. My mother kept waiting as long as she could. Then finally she went away. So that was it. But Aniket's story obviously didn't end there. Stories never end. But dreams do. Aniket would never meet her again. My father and my mother never came together. They remained separated forever, without properly knowing each other, without even once making love. And I remained suspended between two dreams that failed to meet. Sometimes, in spite of love, some children remain unborn, like I remained, just a possibility, unborn, inconceived, like a flake of dust that will never rest on anything. I float through time. I've listened to these roads, and these roads are not empty. They're full of invisible children, floating like me, shadowless. I'm just one of them, only named, never called. But I've learned, yes, I've learned to look and learned to see. I have seen the young man who kept waiting, and a window that was one day closed forever. I have seen the old man who guarded his roses jealously. And I've seen the young man who failed to get lost. And I've seen the little boy who made beautiful pictures on the road, pictures as beautiful as lullaby. So whenever I look at them, I fall asleep. I fall asleep.